Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Forget We Said That. Today we've got what we're calling movie lords, or maybe movie devils? We've got a bit of a horror movie to talk about, and I don't know, I think it would be perfect to listen on Halloween night, but also listen to it also right when it comes out. That would be the best case scenario. But tonight we're going to be talking about what the hell are we talking about? Late Night with
Late
the
Night
Devil.
with the Devil.
Sorry, everybody. The devil got into me for a second. You're supposed to laugh like the co-host.
Right, the applause symbol is supposed to pop up when we're supposed to
Yeah,
clap as
clap,
well.
please clap, Jeb. But anyway, after that great intro of mine, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Relytan.
I'm Alyssa Riot.
And I'm Legion Lion.
Today, we were supposed to be led by Alyssa, and I guess we still will. We were
calling her out already.
We kind of have like a order we want to go in, and I don't know. I think first we're gonna go over just our general kind of thoughts on the movie. Me and Legion did watch it twice. Alyssa,
I didn't study.
I know. I was gonna say this is what I
the
said
person's
before
still
recording.
in school with probably the best grades out of all of us,
Right.
like naturally.
Yes.
No, we're gonna blow her mind with some of the facts we learned after we rewatched it, right? And then
I'm
she's
into
gonna
it.
be so inspired to like go back and
Yeah.
study
I'll
this
probably watch it
film.
after we stream.
She's gonna be the scholar of this film after this is done.
She's
Me
gonna
and
like
Legion
renew
are
her
just-
like subscription to Shudder.
I
to,
know,
like,
right?
rewatch it.
Yeah. We're just here to serve the interest of deeper knowledge of this movie. But
I feel like we're setting up like high expectations. Like we're gonna watch like a movie that's really like not that deep and just kind of fun.
right.
And people are like, "Well, where's the detailed analysis, guys?" It's like we're watching Kung Pao. Give us a fucking
Yeah,
break.
right.
Pop quiz, pop quiz.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, well, I think if we'll look into it deep, and I think there was a lot that like the filmmakers wanted us to like
So
see and
much.
talk about.
Really? Damn it.
So, yeah, I don't know. I
This
guess
is like
enjoyed it,
your like I don't want to spoil it, but this is like your field too,
I
Alyssa.
know.
This
I
is,
dropped
like,
the ball.
heavily.
they even
I'm sorry.
they even mentioned the Amityville house in the movie,
They do.
I have something
Which
to say
is-
about that.
which is exactly Alyssa.
Yeah.
They
All right.
do. They mention it.
Thoughts. Alyssa, you can go first. What
Alyssa.
overall thoughts about the movie? What you like about it? Maybe disliked about it?
I loved it. I loved it. I really wish I would have watched it again, at least today, but I was like super busy. But no, I liked it. I like how it was shot. I think they perfectly captured the era with the colors and the outfits and things like that, and the mannerisms of everybody. I like that they brought up Ed and Lorraine Warren. I was like, what? Like
crazy.
easily could have something to do with like the Conjuring universe. I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool. I really liked it. And the mentions of the stuff that the host was into, like at first I was kind of like not really sure about it. Like I think it kind of leaves it up for your own interpretation of like what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't outright tell you what he was doing really, like what happened to him, what happened to his wife. And it was scary. The hypnotist guy, that whole scene blew my mind.
Oh yeah, Crispin.
Yes, Christu, and then what was the other guy?
Right.
The skeptic.
The skeptic.
The skeptic.
Yeah,
He was the hypnotist.
Carmichael. Yeah.
Carmichael.
That
Yeah.
guy, I fucking hated him. They made him. He did such a good job. Like
Right.
but yeah, his hypnotism shit. It blew my mind. Yeah.
What about you, Aqua?
At first watch, I liked it, and thought it might be kind of I thought it might be a little schlocky. You know what I mean? Just kind of like, oh yeah, the kind of the ending of the kind of a slasher film in a way, and but I don't know. On second viewing, I think it got kind of deeper into some of the more subtle aspects of the story it was trying to tell. And I don't know. I think it did get pretty deep, and I think it has good pacing. Like as a film, it has like a really good pacing, especially when it's on camera and off camera, or like live and then backstage. I really liked that pacing, and I really liked some of the shots they used. There was a couple like split screens that I liked a lot, and there was a couple, and just some of the effects they used like that weren't real. I guess like when they were doing the frame by frame at that one point, like I don't think that's even how it would ever have worked, but like it matched the vibe like perfectly. Just the way all the electronics was like 70s electronics was getting interfered with. I thought the period piece like of like the accuracy, I think it was pretty good. Maybe I wasn't alive in the 70s, so I don't know. But I thought the I guess the costume design, what would you call it? The wardrobe was perfect.
Yeah, wardrobe costume.
And I'll definitely go deeper into a few of the things that I liked about it. Oh, and I think I didn't really understand the ending the first time, but I think it made a little bit more clear on the second watch. I think it was a little more clear about.
I do have like some problems with the ending myself.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I would say I liked the ending better on second watch. But there's still questions about it, and but I think I kind of like what they did overall with kind of wrapping it up in a lot of that stuff, wrapping it up and ending in a pretty weird way, like Alyssa was saying, kind of ambiguous in some ways. But yeah, how about you, Legion?
All right, ready me for like just my dumping of like things now.
Right, here we go, guys. He's got like 16 pages, so get ready for the first 4.
Yeah, I really like the 70s show vibe. When I was like showing this like a little bit clips of here to my mom, she was like, "Yeah, that's Carson. That's like late night." Even Jack Delroy's demeanor, the main character, is very much like modeled after a late night host. I wasn't really much of a late night guy, but as soon as I mentioned like sort of the things about mentioning Carson, she like lit up and started talking about Carson for like 30 minutes. I also like that it revolves around like the darker things of being in the show business / like entertainment business, with selling yourself to like get all this fame, pushing the envelope. Like I was thinking back in my mind, if Jack Delroy had like a YouTube channel, he'd be one of the pranksters or like the social experiment guys who would try to push as much as he can just to get views and just to get people to watch him. Also shout out to Ingrid Torelli, the girl who played Lily.
Bro,
I don't think she's been in much from what I searched on her IMDb,
Did you see?
but she like killed it.
I saw that.
She's like she played possessed girl. Like a lot of people or a lot of movies, they like have possessed girls be like high pitch, right? Like, "Oh, I'm coming to kill you," but she like has like a slow like drow voice and
She
like
nailed it.
she's like so much times where she just like deadpans the camera and it's like very just unnerving.
It's eerie.
So shout out to her.
I'll interject real quick. I'm sorry, but I did some research on her too, and it was like I didn't even see like there's like very little information about her at all. I couldn't even like find how old she is. Not that I was looking, but like I couldn't even find her birthday.
Yeah, it's like I actually like that about this movie as well.
Right.
Like David Dastmalchain, I had to put the pronunciation in my notes just to get that. Yeah, David's like been like in a lot of movies like as a side character. Like if you look at his IMDb, his like filmography is crazy with like Oppenheimer, Ant-Man, The Weird Al Story. He's been in Dune, The Good Suicide Squad, Bird Box, Blade Runner. If you've ever watched a crime drama like CSI or Law and Order, or watched medical show like ER or Grey's Anatomy, he's been a character there.
Wow.
So I'm really glad that this time he's like given center stage. He is the main character finally, and he like absolutely nails it.
He's great,
like in every way.
That's
But
dope.
most of the cast are like unknown. Like even the character who plays Gus, like in his real life, he's like a stand-up comedian who just does small shows. Like this is like his one and only movie credit that he's been in.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I was gonna say like it's not a lot of like well-known actors, but I like that. It's kind of cool.
That is funny. That was my first bullet point, by the way, was that the mysterious actress. That's what I called her.
Mysterious, actually. Just to get like some side notes. there is like a little bit of controversy with this movie because this movie does use AI art in it from time to time. Even the late night logo, the night owl from Jack Delroy's like show, is like altered AI art. Which
Oh.
during the time this movie was being shot was during the writer's strike, so it
Oh.
it almost got boycotted like a couple of times because of that.
Oh.
And not to get on my soapbox, but in my opinion, AI is not inherently bad. It's just that a lot of production companies like Warner Brothers and all these big studios use it as a way to steal others' work, as well as like have a reasoning to like not hire people because they can just hire, not hire, but have technicians work on AI to like sponsor this stuff. So I don't believe it should get hated too much. Like at least the cast and crew should get hated
Mm-hmm.
on for the use of AI, but it's yeah, it's just like a sore subject, especially during the time of like filming.
Huh.
Yeah.
Also, like, there's like 9 studio intros. I know we like kind of laughed at like it's like the Family Guy bit where there's like
Yeah.
so much production companies. It took a lot of people to like fund this movie, and those are all the production companies
Oh.
that were part of it. It's like a very low budget movie. It's $150,000 budget, which it fucking blows my mind.
That's crazy.
Really, it made it back awesomely, but I saw a lot of like forums like complain like, why are there so much production companies? I'd be like, motherfucker, if I spent money on this, you better put my name, like
Hell
Legion
yeah.
Line Studios, like produce this thing.
Definitely.
That adds to your argument of AI art not inherently bad. There's a measured like amount of AI, and if this movie was struggling to raise $150,000, like I think they're
Mhm.
allowed to use AI art. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if you want the
Mhm.
if you have something you want to produce and you don't have the money to hire like a graphic artist, like it's better probably to have the movie out there than what, just sit there not doing anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
of course, there's definitely a situation where it's like, okay, maybe if we're like $1 billion, Disney, maybe we shouldn't just like get AI art and fire everybody. Like that's awful.
Mhm.
And I think people would not find that valuable, but I think people would
Mhm.
find it valuable to say like, wow, they created an owl for the fucking late night show thing. Like, okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are like the little problems I have with this
Sure.
movie.
Mm.
But yeah, those are my thoughts. I guess we're jumping right into spoiler territory, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Probably starting with like the first act of the movie.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'll do it.
That's you.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
I didn't get
no,
to rewatch it.
So
I'm
we
sorry.
have so at the beginning we have a narrator done by Michael Ironside. If you guys love Starship Troopers,
Right.
he is LT. Fucking love him. He didn't know it was him till I searched up the IMDb, but we get like a kind of glimpse of the 70s, right? We have the gas crisis, we have Nixon. We have the Manson family, and also like the hysteria of like cults popping up.
Mhm.
And I kind of like I like talked to my mom about this, and kind of like what the show implies or the movie implies is like, and TV kind of brought that to like people's living rooms, like all the violence and all like the bad news at the time, and some of it like completely overblown, right?
Mhm.
But except for like gas crisis and Manson family. But it was like a time of like hysteria over the occult and like some of like the darker themes that people were getting into at the time.
Yeah,
And then we get like a small cut to the Braxis
Oh,
cult.
right.
Like you see like a little bit of like what they did, which was like this ritual sacrifice, and ultimately how like they had like a Waco kind of incident
Right.
where they had like a standoff with the police, and there was only one survivor, who you'll find out about later. And like there's like a little exposition dump about Jack's life and career. Sorry, I'm taking over a little bit. I'll let
Oh,
you
it's
go.
okay.
No,
You
I mean we
studied.
could definitely kind of go through it again. Like I was gonna say there was like a satanic panic. I mean, I get it's kind of a cycle, right? Like I mean, I know the
Mhm.
'80s were big on a satanic panic. I think it does kind of all roll into each other. There was definitely like something like the Manson family. It is almost like it's the occult. It's not necessarily uh uh like like devil worship like in the Christian sense, although that's how many people did it, or that's how many people kind of viewed it. But a lot of it was just kind of those like arcane occult kind of things. I know that there's been a lot of like resurgences of that throughout history. It seems like every few decades there's another occult kind of obsession for sure. And
Right.
I definitely I one of my points was like owls, like you know what I mean. I thought that like it was obviously like that was part of his. It creates a side by side when at first when he signs his contract with for the show Night Owls, and then by the end you see that it was kind of like a deal with the owl cult, right? And that's kind of why I think like I was thinking the whole time I wasn't sure if the owls were the if what the deal with the cult was exactly, but yeah, I guess by the end it becomes slightly more clear. We don't have to get into it right now, but it definitely is like I remember when we were watching it when you saw the horned owl like behind Jack. I thought that
when he's
was
giving his like beginning monologue and you see the logo
Right.
behind it, giving them the
it's a
devil
good touch.
ears.
And then
It's
also there was a
horns.
devil in the row in front as well.
Yeah, always in the
Being
audience.
silhouetted, yeah. But yeah, I mean that's some of my I guess some of my thoughts on like just like some of the occult themes early on. But yeah, there's more than that. But go ahead, Alyssa.
I was just thinking about what you said too about like the shot of the audience. I love that it stuck in my head throughout the whole movie is the shot of the audience, how like it's kind of like backlit and their silhouette, and it kind of like took away like I don't know, like you don't see their faces. It's almost like a nightmare. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like you get safety from like an audience, like you see their faces and there's like a
Yeah.
nice like atmosphere. But once that's taken away, you feel like instead of like being enjoyed, you're being watched.
Yeah, you're being
Right.
watched. It was weird. It was like it's like there's people there, but there really isn't.
You
know
want
what
to
I-
know a tidbit about that?
Yes.
This movie loves its shot of like the late night audience. And if you really look into like all the audience members, there's some people who are just like clapping and having a good time, and then there's some audience members who are like unmoving and are just like kind of observing what's happening. Like example, the guy in the skeleton
Right.
outfit, he
Yeah.
never claps or laughs at any of the jokes. He's just always watching.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be like a reference to like those are like Abraxas members or Grove cult members just watching the show, seeing observing Jack and seeing it unfold. And they're there just to see like how like the night's gonna go on. So I thought that was cool. It's like kind of later explained when he has like a little flashback. You see the same people that are unmoving as part of his flashbacks. They're like, oh, those are members secretly.
He's like constantly working to appease them. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, because essentially, right, it's like assumed like he sold his soul to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And I love that too because like the big thing, and they explain it in the beginning, is like, he had all these issues, and like in the 60s and 70s when they had the talk shows, like they were pretty like Christian format, and nobody would smoke or swear. Well, they smoke, but not like swear. Like it was really like professional. And then it was going into the era, like they said, of like the cults and satanic panic and all that, and there were new late night hosts that were doing different things. Like you see him go through like a montage of like having animals on the show and talking about this and that, and that's when like things like it's starting to get more modern. That's when talk shows started to get like weirder. People are like there's more controversy. I like how they touched on that, and it's like he was trying to break from traditional values to go into this like I will do fucking anything for views. He was very clickbaity. Yeah, like you said, if he were on YouTube, he would be popular because he'd be like, whatever it takes, bro, anything. So
Right. Well, you get like a little glimpse of it in his kind of exposition of his life. You see like they talk about Jack's involvement with the Grove, which was like a secret gentleman's club, like in the redwoods of California. But they would meet, and it'd be like all these high profile people. I didn't know this, but that's like a reference to Bohemian Grove. If anyone knows that, that's like an actual real life gentleman's club that like hosted like presidents
Right.
and high what's it called, high profile figures. And I thought it was funny that they mentioned Nixon because I like looked it up, and Nixon fucking hated the Grove, the Bohemian Grove. Like, he said like a quote, like some of the longs, like, "I've been to the Bohemian Grove, and those fucking crowds from San Francisco are fucking nuts." So
Yeah, I think he uses some pretty strong language in it too.
I thought that was so
Not,
funny that
not unwarranted.
like they mentioned Nixon at the time, and he was like a, I guess like a frequent member, but he hated that club.
Sure.
But yeah, it still exists to this day. It's still a gentleman's club. No women are allowed. I don't know where they meet now, but it's still a thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's clubs here too. It's so weird.
And
like,
also, they actually do owl imagery as part of their thing.
What
So I liked how that.
there
I like
are
how that ties in.
so many clubs and cults here in California. Like, there's a really nice neighborhood where I live. It's like, I don't know. It's like near the Tower District. It's off Van Ness, but like it's pretty notorious for like these really, really old homes, and it's like the nicest part of town. And like you drive through, it's like these big, huge trees, these big houses, and then there's like a clubhouse, and it's just for the women, like the women's clubhouse that live there. And there's lodges in town for men. It's like it's very weird. Yeah.
Can we visit those?
Shit, we can go by. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to mess with
Want to
that
peep
shit.
inside, see what's happening.
Oh my gosh, I wish you were here during Christmas time, because that whole thing they do, Christmas Tree Lane. Look it up. They've won awards. It's like a long ass drive of like these just extravagant Christmas lights, and they've been doing it for over 100 years.
There's
Yeah.
like owls in there, like somewhere in the Christmas lights.
I'm gonna look this year. I'm gonna look. I bet there is.
Like, oh shit, it's a Grove member.
I like that they chose the owl. It's because obviously
Yeah.
it signifies late night, but the owls are like ominous too, and like Native American culture, they're a bad
Sure.
omen.
I've also heard
It's
that.
funny, yeah. I love owls, but like all the imagery in Hollywood like creeps me the fuck out when it's about like owls themselves. Pretty cool, but a guy dressed in an owl costume freaks
That's
me the
fucking
fuck
I
out.
thought I thought it would be cool because some people associate owls with like aliens, right? Like the Greys. And
Yeah,
I
like
thought that would be
Fourth
kind
Oh,
of
the
Kind
fourth
interesting.
kind, yeah.
Yeah,
the
I
Fourth
always
Kind
thought that would
movie.
be interesting. Kind of like it could be like you could almost in your imagination maybe it is an alien cult. Maybe you could headcanon that a little bit. I want to point out a couple things I noticed.
Yeah.
I did notice there seems to be somebody dressed as like I think it's either Mother Teresa or Virgin Mary that sits right behind the skeleton.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I don't know what that means, but it looked religious. I can't think of anything else you'd be dressed as. But it doesn't really matter that much. The audience was cool. I think for the most part during. Well, I mean, we're in spoilers, but when he was after everything happened and he was in his like hell world, that's when the audiences were like faceless, weird. I called them like old people because they all seemed to have like gray hair. But during like the regular like how before the nightmare sequence, like people seem relatively normal. There's obviously skeleton. There's obviously a few things. I will say that at one point the producer does mention that the suits are sitting in the IBC or whatever suits are sitting in the front row, and you can see them, and they do not look amused most of the time. So like I don't think they might be. I think
Candace fucker.
they probably are.
You don't need them.
Honestly, with this story, they probably are Bohemian Grove or wait, what Grove? Redwood Grove members.
Just Grove group.
So they probably are, but like yeah, they're like the suits. It's like the president of ratings or whatever the hell. And it was sweeps week, so they had to put on a show. I will say that it did seem when he was married to his wife. Well, he signed the contract. I guess I mean again we're kind of getting it into the weeds a little bit, but he signed the contract, and he did have to make a sacrifice apparently. But for like years he was happily married. I don't know when he was supposed to have sacrificed her. I thought it was when he signed his initial contract. That's what it seemed like to me because in the beginning sequence, they said he signed his first contract in like 1971,
Right.
and so or something like that. And then someone said, "What did you have to sacrifice to get here?" And so
Yeah.
I thought he might have sacrificed then, but it might have taken like 5 years or so to like for her to actually get sacrificed, his wife.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think like the thought process behind that was like they mentioned like the Grove, the gentleman's club makes or breaks careers.
You're
And
right.
so like when Jack was like fully a part of them, he understood like he had to make a sacrifice. He just didn't know it was gonna be his like wife.
Right.
At
He
the
didn't.
time,
He didn't know the
like,
specifics
slowly
because he
dying.
just said he'd sacrifice anything. Or like basically is what he said.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then yeah. So when that happened, and then after that, oh, that's what I was gonna say because you mentioned Alyssa that his show evolved. I think it was
Mhm.
going good. It was going really good until she died.
Mhm.
But when he came back after she died, he started doing really schlocky stuff. He started doing just like the Maury shit.
Like Jimmy Fallon bits.
Well, right. Well, even
Yeah.
worse, but like trashy shit, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
trashy.
yeah, just like
Actually, there's like a really funny thing about the trashy stuff. So like when they're like showing like all his weird dumb quirky stuff that he was trying to get for like views, like him like wrestling a little person,
Right.
like arm wrestling them.
Yeah.
There's like an alt girl that pops up
Mhm.
that like kind of berates him, like Jack used to have the edge, used to be like a cool guy, and he kind of walks away.
right.
I didn't know that. That's a reference to the Madonna Letterman interview.
Okay.
And if you guys
Mm.
haven't seen that, it is like one of the greatest interviews. It's just a combative conversation the whole time. Madonna and Letterman just boom, boom, boom,
Ooh,
boom
okay.
for
Yeah.
like 20 minutes. It is so good. I didn't know that was even a thing until like I realized that was like a reference to it.
He was such a dick
That
back
reminds
in
me
the
of-
day. God.
That reminds me, just before I forget, the Crispin Glover Letterman interview is also hilarious. I'll
really?
link them both, or well, I'll link that one and something else, and Legion can link that one. He like when he like pretends to he like almost kicks Letterman in the face. It's so
Oh
good.
shit. Yeah.
But I mean, and I feel like there's some of that in there. Like there's a lot of that stuff. Like I know, I mean, we're gonna get into it, but like the psychic stuff that was a thing very popular on Carson, where he'd bring on Uri Geller. Wait, what was it? Let me see here. I had it up. But yeah, I think that's the name. That's where was it? Well, I can't. But yeah, it was a late night like psych. I think it's Yuri, and and that was definitely a reference like with Cristo. What's his name?
Yeah, Cristo.
Yeah, and there was definitely references like that, like the psychic BS, and then there was
I feel like that's like a late night host like staple. Well,
Right.
It was back in the day,
It
right?
really
to, like,
is.
Bring like
As-
a quirky guest,
as
like,
well
that
as
was,
the
like, a
animal
medium or
segments.
something like that.
Right. So yeah. Anyway, I guess that's all I had to say about that. I just wanted to mention a couple things, like I say, about the audience and the fact that there was suits in the audience, and that the ratings kind of were good, but not Carson level. And then he started just after his wife died, he just started doing schlock, and he still never. But he will. Spoilers: he'll get his wish for beating Carson.
Yeah, I never realized like in interviews, like Carson was kind of like a dick a little bit.
Yeah.
Not in the sense that he would like berate people, but if he wasn't interested in you, he wouldn't pretend to be interested in you for like the rest of the interview.
Yeah.
From like what I've like watched from
Oh,
like doing
He
research,
was ruthless sometimes.
is that like Carson was very like upfront without how he felt about people and things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of got that from Jack a little bit and the skeptic guy, but
Sure.
I never realized.
It's
Like
in-
yeah.
And it's funny because I think I've heard stories of Carson, and I think some of the other late night shows, but especially Carson. He'll give you a signal if he liked your stand up. He'll give you a signal to come talk to him. But if he didn't like it, he'd just have you go.
Yeah.
But if he liked you, he'd interview you for a little while. It was very subtle, and yeah, he was very upfront. He didn't care. Carson's a legend, really. I mean, I'm
think
sad
it's
that
based,
I
honestly.
didn't get to see him much as a
Yeah,
kid. I
it's
think
a
I would have
whole
liked
different
watching
era.
his stuff.
I'm pretty sure like my mom has like a best of Carson DVD laying around somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe I should like give it a watch.
Mm-hmm.
And one more thing. I know I said this during the movie, and it's probably really boring, but I did want to just mention it at the beginning of his of Jack's monologue. He does he does mention. Well, he mentions a few different things. There's some good Carter jokes, but one thing that is near and dear to my heart is he mentions Berwyn, Illinois, and
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if this is true, but I'm throwing it out there into the universe. But he did. Jack apparently got his start in radio, I believe. You know, and this tracks with a guy named there's this radio and eventually television show that was in Chicago called Svengoolie, and eventually it got changed to Son of Svengoolie. And the Son of Svengoolie is played by Rich Kaz. it started as, I believe, a radio show, and it became a TV show, and it was basically like a show that would be played in between like creature features and different like horror and sci-fi films. And it was like a little intro he'd do, and he played a character, like a kind of a goth kind of like character that would just introduce stuff. He was like almost like the Crypt Keeper, I guess, in a lot of ways. And anyway, there's a joke in there, and I can link it. I'll link it in the show notes. There's a running gag on this like mini show between these features, and if anytime Svengoolie or son of Svengoolie would mention Berwyn, Illinois, there'd be a sound clip that played that said Berwyn, and it's probably not that funny to anybody. It's like people like who are just like, I don't know, who just don't care about Berwyn, and they're just saying like, what? Like, it's just a suburb of Chicago. It's not that funny, I don't think, even for me. But it's still a running gag, and I think that might have been a reference because it has to do with horror movies and stuff and radio, and the fact that he was from Berwyn, or like he was from the Chicago area. It's my thought. It's my pet thing, like my pet theory, and it's so obscure that it has to be true. I'll link it. I'll link the
you
joke.
Get like 2 shout-outs actually in the beginning. You get Berwyn, Illinois, and you get like your Mr. October Reggie Jackson.
Well, yeah.
Like,
did I freak you out with that prediction?
That was a trip.
Yeah, you're right, because he just said Reggie Jackson something, and then I was like, yeah, Mr. October, and then all of a sudden they mentioned that he'd be Mr. October. That's his nickname. It's very well known. So I'm not a psychic. Cool. I'm not Christo.
I'm not Christo.
That poor guy, for real.
Yeah, so like when the show is starting, he is the first guest. He's supposed to be playing the medium, right? Like kind of like a precursor to what's gonna happen throughout the whole show, because he picks out like some people, and it turns out like it's like a plant by Jack, just to like, if like, oh, this thing flops, we'll just have this guy in the audience kind of like back and forth with
the first one's a stand-up comedian,
for a little bit.
Yeah, planted there by the producer.
Right, and then like he gets kind of, I don't know, he gets a little bit of a reading from this one family. He talks about like their son, or the mom's son, like taking his own life, and then now that he's at peace, and like maybe you glean a little bit like of knowledge that maybe he is the real deal. And then he gets another signal from something else.
Can I mention one thing?
Right.
It is confirmed. Right. It is confirmed later that Christo's girlfriend talked to those people beforehand. So that's why he knew all that. Just you might have missed it, but it was at one point the skeptic was talking to the 2 ladies, and she said, and they confirmed that it was his Christo's girlfriend. Because if you watch Christo when he collapses, I think maybe for the final time, his girlfriend comes out and tries to help him. And then they mentioned later, they said and then when the skeptic was asking them about it, they were saying, oh yeah, she talked to both of us. It was the guy that came out to help Christo, or it was the girl that came out to help Christo. So it is confirmed that was also not a legit cold reading.
Damn it.
Well, if those weren't all real, the signal he picks up next is fucking
Definitely.
real. Because it's like he's like picking up something. He's calling for Millie, and we don't know what that means yet. And he's looking for somebody who has a ring but's not a husband. We still don't know who that is, and there's like a cool effect where his eyes roll back in his head, and it's kind of like bloodshot. Cool. So if all those other things were bullshit, that signal he got was fucking real.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny, like Alyssa mentioned this when we were watching, like he drops the accent completely.
Yeah, dude, that's one of my favorite parts.
Like, yeah, the act is over. This shit's like the signal he's getting.
This
like,
shit is real.
That was clever. That was so clever, because he had such a cheesy accent. And then when he's yelling, he's like, "Oh my god!" Oh,
yeah. Because at first I was like,
"Should be saying mi amor, oh no," or
right. It's like they made it so confusing because they like played like like Middle Eastern music in the beginning, and then he's wearing that like button up thing all the way up to his neck, and I was like, "Oh, are they trying to make him look?"
It's supposed to be just like this nonsense blend of like cultures. Like when he says
right,
"C,"
and then he has like a Hispanic accent,
like is a joke, because like none of his like presentation like suggested like any like Spanish or like Mexican.
It was so bizarre. I was
Or
like,
Italian.
What is this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Portuguese. Maybe he was Portuguese. I don't know.
Yeah. He hadn't been around the world yet. Yeah, that was a trip.
Right, like Cristo's like pretty like dejected at that point, right? Because he just like experienced something
And
real.
he stays.
Right. Well, he
stays.
did want to leave. Yeah. Yeah. He got kind of convinced to, and I do think it was Minnie that he was calling out to. I remember him trying to make a Minnie Mouse
Yeah.
joke.
Oh, Minnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we cut to a break, and then like there's like a really cool thing that this movie does is that it cuts to like black and white when it's like behind the scenes, and just documenting them. That's kind of like what lends this movie to be like analog horror. I feel like.
Yeah. It's not
like
really
this,
clear why there's like a behind the scenes,
Yeah.
but like I guess they were filming
like-
a special, and this does kind of harken back. There is like an old special. I just thought of this. I didn't even put it in my notes. There is an old special where they did like a news broadcast of like going to like some sort of like house where there's like missing people or something, and like it was presented as a real newscast, even though it wasn't. But it was presented really well like that, and it was like I can almost see that kind of being the thing where they like
Oh,
were
was
doing
that
a
that, like,
special.
Ghost House thing on BBC?
What was it?
It was like a goat. It was like
Yeah.
called Ghost House or something.
That might be
But
that's
like,
very
isn't that the thing that gave people like the War of the Worlds like hysteria?
Kind of.
Because
yeah.
all,
well,
all
that's
the
yeah. War of
actors
the Worlds is
were
the
like
OG
real
of this
talk
kind
show
of
hosts
shit.
in
Yeah.
BBC, but they're playing themselves.
I think I kind of teased this earlier, and I have a note that said this would hit so hard on Halloween night, just like having this on your TV, dude. Like holy crap, dude. I don't know.
That was the hope,
can't
right?
wait.
That was Jack's hope.
Yeah.
Like, and it will look.
Was that like
It'll look legit on your TV. Like if it's just on, it'll just look like you're watching like a late night show, and it'll be like it would be kind of like crazy to watch that when it's on like HBO or whatever. And you can just turn it on.
late night access, late night guy.
Technical
Either way, we're
difficulties.
introduced to Carmichael, the skeptic. Actually, it's funny like that. Aqua gets kind of like two shoutouts with Berwyn and then a baseball reference, and then there's like a dig on Alyssa because like Carmichael like mentions all the stuff he's debunked.
Yeah.
And then he's at the Amityville house, right, which is like, you know, the Warrens, and he mentions like, oh, I tried to go to Amityville with the Warrens, but they were too scared
Yeah,
to show
they were
up.
too scared.
It's like, ooh, god
Shut
damn.
up. Ed and Lorraine aren't afraid of shit, okay?
Well, yeah, and he comes
that
out.
was so funny. It was like a dig at Alyssa.
Yeah, so fuck
Like,
this
your
guy.
own movie's turning against you and favoring me.
I know, right? I was like, psh.
We should mention that Cristo did eventually is this I guess he's just looking worse for the wear at this point, right? Like
He's sweating.
He is sweating.
Yeah, because, you know, Carmichael's like really like grilling him about the authenticity, and like he points out, you know, what Aqua just mentioned, like, hey, you could have interviewed them a long time ago, and now you're just making like deductions, like all this stuff's
they also
not
have to
real.
They have to
It's
introduce
the
the
check.
check.
Yeah, okay. Is that why
Yeah.
Christu stays? Because I'm like, this guy is like
Right.
dying,
Ma-
like, and he won't leave.
He was like
Maybe.
it seemed like he was convinced. I can't remember now. I thought I remember kind of taking mental note, but I didn't take actual note. I don't know. He was basically peer pressured by like Jack. He's like, "You're staying. It's gonna be fine."
He's like, yeah, he becomes like increasingly unhinged,
And-
like so much so that like when like Carmichael's like berating. By the way, like who was Carmichael like a reference to? You
James
said, like
Randi.
there was like a famous debunker. Yeah,
Mm.
like when I was watching like James like Randall stuff. Like Carmichael's like a fucking dick about shit. Like James Randall at least was like nice about like
sure.
debunking
Oh,
stuff.
Carmichael's definitely
Carmichael's
like,
like fuck you.
They turned the cuntiness.
He's
up
like very
to
like
100.
antagonistic.
He's
when
super
he's trying
condescending.
to like debunk stuff.
Why
Yeah.
must you be so
Yeah.
It's like a very
condescending,
much
Mr.
like,
Carmichael?
oh, like you guys believe in the occult and I don't, which makes me smarter than the rest of the room type feel.
Right. Oh, he's definitely.
Right.
He's actually probably also based on like the new atheist movement of like the Richard Dawkins of like the 2000s kind of thing. Like James Randi was actually kind of a hero of that movement as well. I really think James Randi is a cool guy, but there was other like more condescending people in like the skeptic community, and he's definitely based on like the condescending people.
He really is.
For sure.
He's just so like, He's just so antagonistic for like no reason.
I don't know. No
Like,
one's
he
fighting
has
you,
to be
bro.
right.
Just chill out.
He was my stand-in though. He was my hero of the movie.
You guys just
Gus is the
fucking
hero.
hate
Gus
magic
is
and
the
whimsy.
fucking man, dude.
Yeah, I was on his team. I was on Team Carmichael.
Gus super wants to support his friend, wants to do right for the show, wants to like help out the crew. He doesn't deserve to be
Man, Gus.
on the Night Owl show.
I mean,
he deserves to
poor
be on
Gus.
Carson
They
as that
shit
guy.
on him so much.
Well, they shit on him, but the producer really hates him. Like the producer is absolutely vile to this guy. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, man. We'll get into
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, like Crystal like splashes water into Carmichael's face and tries to storm off. And then he stops all of a sudden, and he's like, something's not right. And then he like starts projectiling like black goo.
Actually, he was
At
spouting.
everything.
It's a
Yeah,
not
the
magic.
CG didn't work for me. I don't know about you guys on that scene. I just didn't like the CG at all.
It was-
there
Yeah.
with
That
the
was
black
bad.
stuff.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was not great. Like
It
I
could've been
understand,
better.
very low budget. When you want to do practical, there's like a whole process, right? We got to get the script going. We got to clean up the whole set. Everything needs to reset. So I get like doing digital to like save money, but it still kind of bothered me. It kind of took me out a little bit.
It is.
Like having the black spew like not be as like believable as it would have been if like they just like hooked up a tube on the side of his mouth and just had him
For
Yeah,
real, they
he-
could've-
stuff.
the practical would have been better. Yeah, because okay, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I almost felt like the Gus hypnotism scene was more practical.
Oh yeah, that's all
Yeah.
practical.
Yeah, which was
thank God.
great. But yeah, they could have done, even if it didn't look great, the spout would have looked, because then you could even pass it off as like, oh, maybe he was kind of faking it. You're right. Like you would at least have that skepticism. Even you would have like Carmichael's skepticism. You'd be like, was it a spouting? Was it a tube? You know, because if it looked like it, then that would just add more questions. But yeah, when you CGI it, it's like, oh yeah, he definitely did that. But like, it looked bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cristo is quickly rushed to an ambulance,
He'll be fine.
and then we, yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine in the end. And then we cut to what was like the preview for the next guest, which is June Ross Mitchell and Lily, the subject of her book, Conversations with the Devil. The book is called, which I thought would be like a funny like alternate title to this movie, is Conversations with the Devil. But
I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised
you
if
get
that's
like
a
a little
reference to something. But
Oh, maybe.
I
There
don't
might
know
be
what it is
something.
either.
I mean, there's a lot of like with the devil type media, right?
Right.
It's just a very like attention
That's half
grabbing
the title.
title thing. But yeah, we cut to like the Abraxas cult, like with the leader talking about like his devil worship, and it's very Anton LaVey, if you guys know who that is.
I gotta say, I don't.
Oh, that's okay, perfect. So he is the author of the Satanic Bible.
Okay.
He was
Oh,
born
duh.
and raised in Chicago,
Alyssa's favorite
Illinois,
book.
and he later moved closer to Alyssa in San Francisco.
Wait, he was born where?
Mhm.
Around here?
no, just Chicago.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Chicago area.
That's
He was born
that's
and
right.
raised.
That's where I am. And then he moved to where Alyssa is. Plus, the Bohemian whatever Grove is where Alyssa's kind of near. Uh oh.
Yeah.
This is getting creepy.
But I like that there's more references to you guys. It's just like yeah.
why
So
was
Anton
forgotten.
LaVey, like yeah, he's the author of a lot of the occult stuff that you see. Like
Okay.
I mentioned, the Satanic Bible and a bunch of other stuff. He died of disease. I think I forgot what he died of. Maybe some sort of cancer. I don't know if that's a reference in the movie at all. But yeah, it's very. I thought that was interesting doing a little research on him. He never had like a crazy Waco standoff though.
Yeah.
Like for as much controversy as he had with the books he authored, and like the kind of cult he kind of fostered, nothing really became of it except for like the media like just bombarding him with like negative things to say because of like what he stood for and all that. But yeah, born and raised Chicago, moved to San Fran.
Yep. One of my
so
friends
the,
had the Bible, I remember.
Yeah, so yeah, authored book. Yeah, but they said during the for the Abraxas cult that they were kind of mentioning were they were doing human sacrifices, and like they had a lot of illegal stuff, which led to an FBI raid, which similar to Waco. Alyssa, you can chime on this, but they had like a couple days standoff,
Mhm.
and then ultimately decided like to burn the whole place down, ultimately killing all members except one, which was there was supposed to be a sacrifice that day. It was supposed to be Lily, and she's the only surviving member.
Yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah. Well, I do want to mention one line that I thought was important. And when they were interviewing, what's his face? The leader,
Was it Salazar, Diablo.
the Diablo. It's
close
like
to
Diablo. Yeah. But
It's like Diablo and
quote,
Diablo.
his quote is, "There's not good or evil, no redemption, only what we desire and how we obtain it." So
Mhm.
my theory in that sense, because we know, we'll eventually know that what inhabited Lily was like a servant of Abraxas, not actually Abraxas.
Mhm.
So like, and I just feel like that's who. It was the same person who, or it was the same devil. It was the same devil that, like, yeah, that got Jack what he wanted, and then inhabited Lily. Like, it just, and that was his desire. Like, this Abraxas, and maybe his servants aren't good or evil. They just get people what they want and take payment for it. They're almost like mercenary devils. That's kind of something that
I
kind
don't
of
know. I
thought.
consider human sacrifice pretty evil.
Yeah.
to attain
No,
such
and I'm not
things.
saying that there isn't good or evil. I'm saying that those demons these devils don't really care about good or evil.
Yeah.
And it is evil to kill like sacrifice children, but that'll be clipped. No, I'm
But you
saying
have
that
the choice to
no,
do
that's
it or
what
not.
that's the price. Like, he doesn't care that it's
Right.
evil. He just cares that that's the price. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or whatever. And the same thing with like Jack's wife. Like, that was the price. It's not good or evil. You just asked for this, and I'm taking this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could say it's the humans that are evil because
Right.
they're the ones who act upon it. They take
Yes.
that payment.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
they go,
It's
okay.
it's a temptation. The devils don't care what's good or evil, or they don't even make a distinction. But if you ask for
Yeah.
something, they'll take the sacrifice. And to me and to the humans, that's evil. But yeah.
Right.
And I just thought that was a good line, because it was it speaks to Jack's desire and what he does to obtain it, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's what that line was supposed to kind of get in your mind, or at least kind of explain maybe a little bit about sort of the motivations of both the devil and Jack
And Abraxas.
and Abraxas.
And the servants. What's it called? But actually, you remind me of another line he says during that interview. By the way, who's interviewing? And I don't know why he did the interview with the news about like his cult.
Yeah,
and
right.
stuff
Yeah,
like
what was
that.
the reasoning?
And, like, gives away details about Doom Sacrifice. Anyway, he also mentions that anyone who witnesses the ritual is under Abraxas' spell.
I do
so
remember that.
you
Yeah.
kind of interpret that like that's what like this whole kind of like unedited like actual showing of what happened that night is.
You're not
like
wrong.
just the spell just like reoccurring.
I think you're right.
Further.
At first, I like
us,
discounted
the
it.
audience members.
I was discounted it, like you're supposed to see it in person, but like I think you are right. I think that's kind of what it is like why this is so powerful is because so many people are watching it, right?
Mhm.
I do think that I am a little confused because we'll get back to this later, but it was confused when the devil the devil gets summoned, through Lily, and the servant or whatever seems confused as to why he's there. But and I was like, I thought that it seems like that's something he would love, right? He would love to be in front of an audience to see all this stuff, right? So I don't know.
Well, they mentioned it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I guess we'll get
Like,
to it, so we won't get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, so Lily and June come on screen, and Lily's like bright-eyed and stuff like that, and then like immediately when she sits down, she just dead stares the camera.
bro, that's a whole ass
Like, she's like,
that's a whole ass point for me, because later she spikes the lens, and then later the cameraman like mentions it. Like if you listen to the audio or to the dialogue, you can hear the cameraman saying, "Yeah, she stared right down it."
It's creepy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's why she's such a good actress. Those are great.
Yeah,
Every
it
time she
is,
spikes
just
the lens
really
is
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
kept looking at it too, right? Don't they mention? Doesn't Jack say like, "Look over at me," but she keeps like
Well, yeah, he
Yeah.
says
looking
it
into
too.
the camera at the audience,
And I think that's clever it's almost like, I don't know if it's Mr. Wriggles at all, but like it's almost like she like she knows to some degree that it's the audience that she wants to see her. Like she doesn't care that Jack's there, and the devil doesn't care that it's Jack. He does, but he's very interested in the fact that he's got the whole audience looking at him.
Yeah. Well, like Carmichael mentioned this when they mentioned like that the cult that Lily belonged to as a child was Abraxas, and he mentions that like Abraxas is like a showman. He wants an audience. He wants to be seen. Like he craves that attention that he can get from a lot of people, and like what a better format than late night.
Quite a showman with the magician's favorite incantation, abracadabra.
Yeah.
Lily gets it right away. It's probably Mr. Wriggles telling her.
It's like the only time like Carmichael's impressed. Also like June kind of mentions that like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have Lily on the show. Like she's been very abrasive lately. Even she got into a fit and just kept repeating Jack's name, which in my head kind of means she's already been possessed since that time.
Yes.
And it's just like
apparently
that
days
minor
before,
demon possessing her throughout the whole show.
Days before she was repeating his name, and also, what was it? I forgot what that was, but yeah, it was. She repeated his name, and that's why that's what confused me as to like I thought she knew she was gonna be like on his show. So, you know what I mean? But like I don't know, it's just kind of like it's one of those things where it definitely seems a little planned out for sure.
Yeah. Then we cut to another commercial, and then once you can kind of see like the reality breaking for Jack for a little bit when he like mentions to the camera person, "Hey, make us look like all pretty." And then Lily turns around in like Madeline's voice and says, "I'm already pretty."
Right. It did sound just like her. Yeah. That happens later too. Then there was the point where I know Gus at some point noticed before Lily came on stage that she was like in restraints and like was like fighting against like restraints. And then when she came out all bright-eyed, like Legion said, you could see Gus looking really weird because he
was sweating.
Well, yeah, because he's seeing this like adorable 13-year-old girl come out, and I think he saw her like probably in the Abraxas servants like mode, right? Like earlier when she was like struggling against restraints, like way different looking and everything. And then she just comes out bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and he's like thrown off.
And the fact that she was so about it too, like, oh, can we talk to him?
She lays it on thick. She lays it on real thick at the beginning.
Like if you're being possessed, you'd be like, I don't want that shit to ever happen. But
which kind of brings to me kind of the question of, was she basically already completely controlled by Abraxas by this point, or the servant?
I mean, she was raised to be a sacrifice. Like she knew in like, her end game, like that was going to be her fate. So in a sense, she's like trained.
Yeah, like she was almost never like a normal girl ever. So like 90% of what you're seeing is like Abraxas' servant, and then like 10% is I don't even know. Like now, it almost seems to me like she was basically always controlled.
She's just a vessel.
She's a vessel.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought there was like a really cool scene when like what's it called? When June, the author, and Carmichael were kind of going back and forth, and then there's like a little sound of the siren. Like an ambulance siren, and then later on you realize that Christo had died on his way to the hospital, that he was bleeding from, well, according to Gus, from all his, not Gus, excuse me, the producer, the Dan Matherson looking guy. He alludes that like he was bleeding from every orifice and he did not make it to the hospital.
Some sort of hemorrhaging,
yeah, like he hardcore hemorrhaged.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like a cool
No, that was a cool touch. Because that reminds me of like, there's like some streams or some like, or even like when I'm watching a baseball game, there you go. Like sometimes you just hear a siren. I mean, it's not that weird when it's like a baseball game, but like, especially right outside of Wrigley, there's a fire station. Whoa, another reference. Dude, I have another reference. This is going to freak you out, but we'll get to it later.
Yeah, go ahead.
But it also has to do with Wrigleyville. Anyway, yeah, there's a fire, station right outside Wrigley, so you hear it sometimes. And but yeah, like there's another stream I listen to, and they're like in downtown New York, and every once in a while it's like, and it's just like, what the fuck? So it reminded me of that, but it was good because it was ominous. You're right, and he didn't know what it meant until just a couple minutes later, which hits good though. Like it's like an immediate payoff of like something subtle, and I think that's like something that's really cool about some movies, or like a movie that people care about. Those details are in there.
Mhm.
Right. Like, funny that you mentioned Wrigley because Lily has like a little pet name for the demon that possesses her. Calls her Mr. Wriggles
Mr.
because he
Wriggles.
wriggles in and out of her brain.
Stupid. I hate that name.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the name is kind of terrible, but I feel like that's like a good indication of where Lily's stance is. She doesn't see this as like an antagonistic demon. It's just someone that visits her every now and then.
Yeah, she
So
gives it
she
like a
seems like
cutesy
sort of
name.
Right. As much as
Yeah, like at peace with it.
as much as I like downplayed her, like she probably still like somewhere in there's still like an innocent little girl, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
so she
Mr.
definitely she has like her
Wriggles.
little nickname for it. But I just feel
Yeah,
like
when
I feel
they
like
said that, I was all. Pfft.
I feel like her personality or image as like an innocent little girl is only like a convenient little like facade, like not like a complete facade. It's not like she doesn't exist, but she's like thin. She's like a thin facade.
Mhm.
She exists, but she exists as a facade for this Mr. Wriggles.
Yeah.
But yeah, during that break, right before the interview with June and Lily comes on, like Gus actually finds out that Christu died, and he's kind of like begging Jack to just cut the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like he even mentions that you're messing with things that you don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
and like Jack in typical fashion, he's like, I'm trying to save our fucking show, like because
Yeah.
he knows like like this is his
It's
last
week.
chance.
It's like his last chance. The suits are in the front row.
Yeah.
And the producer doesn't give a shit either. He's just like, whatever.
Well, he's just trying to
he's
drum up
like-
like the numbers any way he can. He doesn't care about basically
which
anything.
they do, right? People are like calling in and saying like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And like,
Mhm.
They're
like,
worried about
the
Christu,
ratings that they were kind of seeing from news outlets were like doing good. So like
Mhm.
Jack and like Danny Matherson, I forgot his name. I was calling Dan. Let's
God,
call him
what is it?
Danny. The
Dang.
producer, like they just want to like keep going. Like this is like good TV. People are watching, not Carson level, but like
Mhm.
higher in the ratings than he was before. So
Yeah.
they're just like gun ho, keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next is like Act 2, I would kind of say. Well, maybe like closer to Act 3. The commune with the devil. So there's like a whole like introduction by Jack Delroy saying like this might disturb you and all that, and I always find like lines like that like disturbing in themselves. It's the
Mhm.
we kind of said it during our viewing, but it's kind of like the signs thing where it's like
Mhm.
oh, the newspaper says like
Oh,
not newspaper, news reporter
yeah.
says like, oh, this image might disturb you, and the fucking alien walks across the
Right.
screen. Doesn't look great now, but like still like the news reporter saying that fucked me up more than the image. like the
Yeah.
anticipation of that shit was like fucked
Mhm.
me up a lot. But
This was right before they sat down to do it between the break when they were breaking.
Mhm.
That was when they used that split screen. I thought that was really good. It was it was like a split screen. I think it was between Lily and like and Jack talking to like to the producer, right? And it was just a really good like split screen. I can't like I don't. I'm not a cinematographer, but I just thought that was a good touch. I don't know why, because you basically do have like two stories almost converging, right? Like you kind of have like a collision course with these two characters, or not?
right.
Yeah, like or at least like you're about to discover some things about both these characters, and it's gonna have
which
some,
we do.
yeah. So I just like that split screen.
Like the right, you mentioned like, and also I guess it confuses me a little bit too, is that when the demon first appears, it's very confused on where it is.
Right.
But it soon like clears up when it's like, oh, he's here, and like she
True.
immediately turns to Jack and like looks straight at him, and then he's like, oh, he alludes to meeting Jack among the tall trees, basically saying that the Abraxas cult and the Grove are connected,
Right.
like through that.
Yeah, they
because,
met
like,
there.
Like the deal that they made at the Grove was the lesser demon of Abraxas,
And I guess
that was the person that was coming to collect.
yeah, like it just seems like he got the deal. The deal happened, or the sacrifice happened. So he signed the contract. That's what he signed for, and then the sacrifice happened, and then this is the devil to collect or to actually get get good on his side, right? You know what I mean? Like then he's gonna give him the thing, and or he's gonna give him the rating. So like it's almost like I don't know if the Abraxas demon or devil knew. I mean, he did know at some
He
point,
does know
like
about
before
cult because he said he met him among
So,
the tall trees.
right,
Which
and
he's
so-
like he's mentioning the grove.
right. So that makes me think that maybe he even engineered what's the doctor? June, Dr. June.
Yeah, Dr. June.
It's almost maybe he like made that happen between Dr. June and Jack,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then it's like, and then all of a sudden, that's kind of how he was able to get on the show, to get the audience, and then to make do and to get the highest ratings. So I don't know. Yeah, just almost.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a coincidence. I guess that's kind of the like, the mystery of the ending, where it's like, did he know? Did
Yeah.
Abraxas or whatever know that he was going to be on the show? But it does seem like he might have planned it out to get good on his side of the deal.
Right.
That's just my thought.
I have like a theory about that too.
Okay. Yeah, we can keep
Small
talking about
tangent.
stuff. Sure.
Yeah, small tangent. I feel like the reason why Jack's character is so like ready to believe the occult is because I think, I don't know, maybe this is a little bit too heady, but I think he realizes that the sacrifice he made was like part of that whole deal. And so if he's not getting the ratings, like his wife's death meant nothing, so he
Right.
needs to believe
Yeah.
this is going to happen.
Right.
Or else like all he did was just like kill his wife slowly. Like she suffered for nothing basically for him to just be a mediocre
Yeah.
late night guy.
It's the
So maybe
monkey's
that's like
paw.
some headcanon that relates.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the monkey's paw, where it's like you wish to be the highest rated late night show host, and it's like he got it at what cost? I mean, it's pretty simple, but honestly, it's
Mhm.
presented in a interesting way. I did. It took a lot of thinking as to why all this happened, but I think we're starting to get close to like why it happened. Like the plot's making more and more sense to me, at least.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because Lily gets snapped out of her possession. Actually, I forgot to mention this. I like that she like pretty much calls out Jack and June for like fucking.
I
Because
know.
they fucking.
I just
She thinks he's really handsome.
the best touch. I mentioned this when we were watching it, but the best touch was the slow censor. She got one fuck out, and then the next one was beat.
Yeah,
and I
like,
thought that was
and
Yeah.
before the
genius.
producers were like realized it was gonna come out next.
Yeah,
and then,
well, she
like,
repeated
hit the
it
blue button.
exactly the same. Jack and
That's
June
very
went up the hill
like
to fuck
late
each
night
other's brains
hosting.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jack and June fuck each other's brain down. She just mentioned that. Also, very good hint to June and Lily's relationship. Like she hits her during that scene,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Boom, smacks, right? So
Yeah.
even though like June says like, "Oh, I gave her a home. She's family. Like we're never been closer." There's abuse. She's just a test subject.
did you see it
mostly.
later
Mhm.
too?
Not family. It's just there to be studied.
Did you
Yep.
catch it
Like-
later?
Like,
The-
like not to like say anything bad, but Alyssa, would you like hit any of your adopted children even if they were possessed like that?
No, my God. Like, I don't hit my own kids, and if I were to foster or adopt another kid, there's no fucking way I would smack them like that. You know what I mean?
No.
There's no
If
way.
you watch later, June says we're family, and Lily does shy away. Like she tries to touch
Yeah.
Lily.
So like, there's abuse in there.
Yeah,
for sure.
and Lily shies away. She doesn't like June's touch. So that's very subtle. It's very subtle, and honestly, I feel like I believed June for the longest time, but I saw that, and now that we're talking about it, like kind of what you're saying, I think that is a huge reason, and that's probably, well, we'll get to it later, but June didn't fare too well at the end, so.
Yeah, and it was the 70s. Maybe she was treating her like a
I
daughter.
mean, yeah, she was probably still the best treated kid in New York.
Like an actual, very authentic treating of children.
You want Jack to get his belt?
Dad, Jack. Dad.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was a trip. But yeah, because at first I was like, "What do you like?" I know she's her subject as well, but yeah, she took her into her home and was raising her. But yeah, it didn't seem like she looked at her like a child at all.
Yeah, well, it could be that June knew more, than she really wanted to let on, especially since she seemed to be getting cold feet at some point. And she said,
Yeah,
we
pretty
really shouldn't be
much,
doing
like-
this. And, I
this-
think that might have
the
been her
whole- yeah,
realizing.
Like, they peer pressured her, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Fucking
like,
Jack.
right.
But doesn't the audience want to see it happen?
And,
I'm
she was
"You
realizing that,
motherfucker."
oh, shit, I think maybe this is actually a demon, and also I am kind of abusing her. Maybe we shouldn't do this.
Yeah, and someone who cares for a child, that's mentally disturbed doesn't parade them on TV.
Yeah,
So
and but you do want to believe her, right? Like you kind of want to believe that she's just getting the word out. She's
right.
She's like saving this girl from Waco 2 or whatever the hell it would be at that point. I guess it would just be that. But yeah,
she's trying to sell her damn book.
Yeah, right. But
yeah,
she's really just trying to sell her damn book.
So next we come on to like Carmichael debunking what just happened, right, with the possession. He's like, "This is all mass hypnosis, and I'll show you." And then we get like, probably like the coolest effect for me is when he puts Gus under hypnosis and like worms start to protrude out of his body.
Yeah,
it's a very like creepy scene where he says like, "Oh, your neck's itchy," and then like worms, like actual live worms, he like pulls out. And then like, "Oh, you're getting super hot," and then like he like takes off his shirt and like it starts spewing out of his stomach after he rips it open. And then like a giant one like pops out of his eyeball.
Yeah, the dick shaped
It's just
worm.
like a.
Oh wow, you're the one that noticed that. I didn't even notice.
Did.
It's probably like one of the few practical effects of the movie besides the demon makeup when she was possessed.
Sure.
But I thought that was really cool, and then like even it got me believing because I'm like saying in the whole scene, I was like, "No, Gus doesn't deserve this." That's what I was gonna say.
And we noticed this we noticed this slightly after it happened, but we did notice. I feel like that Lily thought he was just being silly. She never saw like
she wasn't under any hypnosis.
She was laughing the whole time.
I heard that was just like a funny bit.
Yeah, which is why I guess she really is probably still like a normal girl, like in some ways.
She wasn't susceptible.
And she.
Or she's possessed already, and the demon ain't falling for her hypnosis.
Maybe it was, but to some degree, Mr. Wriggles was basically like already controlling her mind enough to have her not even see that. I thought that was a good touch because she laughed the whole time, and even afterwards, she's like, "Why did he do that? He's silly."
I was tripping on it at first too because like. Well, yeah, it looked real, but then Carmichael gets worried. Like it seemed
he's like,
like
what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, it seemed like it was getting more out of hand. Like even though he was doing the hypnotizing, like it seemed like it was amplified maybe, and he was getting scared. Like, oh fuck, But I gotta watch it again.
I had two thoughts about that too because I was kind of the same way. Either there's two possibilities. Either that really didn't happen, that was still like a hypnosis part of it, because he said a lot of things that he didn't actually say. But also, I think at one point it actually, when I was watching it, I can't remember the specifics, but it did make some sense that like Mr. Wriggles was like kind of enhancing the effect, like even beyond what he wanted. So I think there's a possibility for both of those things.
That's what I was thinking.
It's an interesting thought. I think it's kind of up for interpretation, really.
Thank you, Doctor.
Then Carmichael pulls the rug. He snaps his fingers, says "Dreamer, here awake" to Gus, and then it was all a facade. And like they even replay the camera footage of Carmichael just basically giving Gus suggestions. "Oh, there's worms in your neck. Oh, it's getting really hot. Take your shirt. Oh, there's worms in your belly. And now there's one like popping out of your eye." And you can see that like his way of proving Lily's a whole like possession thing wrong was that like this is mass hypnosis. Even though like June's like, I don't know, it's like I didn't do anything. It's like it's all June. But it's like a great like body horror like type of scene.
Dreamer awake will
especially
be important
if they get
later
into
too.
That practical stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So believe we get into like actually I'll wait for Aqua.
Okay.
But let me get into my fun things, I should say.
Yeah.
What's it called? Me and Aqua love analog horror. Like it's like one of our favorite things to like watch on YouTube. And this movie is very much like analog horror, in the sense that it feels like old, like archived or like documentary style like filming. Like people think of analog horror as like found footage, where like the camera's shaking, like the stuff you love, Alyssa.
Yes.
Where the camera doesn't focus at all, and
so I can
your
puke.
motion sickness first 10 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's more like archive, like documentary stuff, and I think that like this fit it perfectly. the only time you ever like you come out of it is like when he gets into like his flashback montage, right?
Mhm.
It comes away from that 70s 4:3 aspect ratio you were so used to watching on your tube TV, and like actually hits like a modern like 16:9 aspect ratio where it's like a whole different like universe thing. But I thought that was cool. Also, one thing I noticed from like rewatching is that every main character except Gus, respect to Gus,
R.I.P.
is using others for their own gain, right? Jack
Yeah.
uses his wife for fame and wealth. June uses Lily to sign her book and make her famous. Carmichael is using Jack as a way to get into the Grove because he mentions to Jack like, "Hey, get me into the Grove. Like
Mhm.
I heard you're doing stuff over there." So I find it like a little bit of a comeuppance thing when characters
Yeah.
perish, except for Gus. Shout out to Gus. Every
Yes.
character deserved what they got.
Yeah, the producer's using him.
He's the only one who
Christos.
didn't die. I'm like fucking pissed about it too.
Dude.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, and it seems like maybe he was protected by, whatever, because he can continue to, like, have hosts of shows. You know what I mean? Like, he could continue to do this shit.
Mhm.
Well,
That's why he's protected.
he's kind of in his own
It's like
personal...
Hollywood always survives, even though it has a
Yes.
demon possession. Hollywood persists in its scummy form, and Danny Matheson, the producer, I keep calling him Dan. I shouldn't call him that.
I don't know his name either.
I know.
but
I don't know
yes.
the producer's name. It's probably on the IMDb, and I'm too lazy. But yeah, everyone gets theirs, but Hollywood persists.
I mean, by the end,
Um,
he does not look like he's getting out of there. It kind of looks like he might be arrested for killing everybody.
I meant Danny Matheson's
Da-
character. He's like the only scummy character out of the main cast.
Oh,
besides
you say,
Gus,
yeah, because he
who
just kind of
doesn't get his.
disappears, doesn't he? Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause-
he doesn't get any comeuppance.
Yeah,
even
you're
though
right.
He's like probably like the no, not the worst, but he's up there with all of them
sure.
except Gus.
Oh, something I was going to mention is right before they did the... Wait, what was it? Oh, when they started looking at the... I did say that I really liked the frame by frame, but right before they started looking at that, they said they're going to bump a... Did you realize at the beginning of the like show, the show, what was they were going to have like a jazz singer on named Cleo James?
Yeah, damn, dude.
But like...
It's so funny because like
Yeah.
once the shit starts getting real, Jack's like, no, screw the
Dude,
performance.
he does.
We're,
He's
we're,
like,
we're
we'll
staying
have-
with this.
we'll have
I'm
her
like,
back.
oh, fucking Cleo James, dude.
Damn.
Just
have her
get
back
time
another
to sing.
on another episode. So that's not a real person, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, but they're the only hit, like the first hit you get if you Google Cleo James, is a is a former Chicago Cub. Like,
What the hell?
I don't know. Isn't
Ooh,
that
love
weird? He
Chicago.
played between 1970 and 1973.
Mm.
Ooh. So
I
maybe
don't think this
like
means-
a reference in name. I guess.
I don't know if this means
Huh.
anything, but that's weird that it's a Chicago Cub, that player from the 70s. I don't know what that...
Interesting.
It might just be a complete
and Jack's
coincidence.
parents are from
But how-
Berwyn. It all makes
But
sense.
how many
dude.
Chicago references have there been? We've counted like 4 or 5.
Damn, I really should have looked into like the director and writer. Maybe they do have like
They
heavy
might.
Chicago.
They
roots, 'cause they're,
might. I mean,
born
I
and
don't
raised in
even
the
know
area.
myself. Yeah. Hey, the DNC is next
Right.
week.
All the power to you, Aqua. I'm glad that you get like this reference, all these references.
I know, right?
from
No,
Alyssa's movie.
nobody on Earth would ever get that Berwyn reference, even if it is a reference. Nobody on the planet. I just listen to like boomer like radio stuff sometimes. Sue me.
NPR. Right?
Yeah.
8 a.m. in the morning. Hell yeah. I feel like I've been getting a lot. Sorry to go off on a tangent. I feel like I've been getting a lot of like Chicago things. I was
Yeah.
watching Last Meal. I don't know if you guys know that series, where they like bring guests on and they like cook their last meal for them in this kind of like an interview format.
Oh, like a
Uh,
theoretical
anyway,
last meal?
interviewing. Yeah, theoretical last meal.
Okay.
I wish I was on that show just so I could eat good food.
I don't.
But yeah, like they interviewed Sean Evans, which is the host of Hot Ones. I'm not sure if you guys know who that is, but like
Oh,
the Hot Wings interview show.
Mhm.
And yeah, he's born and raised Chicago, Illinois. So I just learned a whole bunch about Chicago from that.
Really? Oh,
interview.
yeah. He's interviewed, I
This
think,
guy-
Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo, who are who were Cubs.
Ooh.
He'll probably interview another Cub one day. I'm guessing maybe
Hmm.
Bellinger. Well, no, maybe not. He'll interview some Cub, I'm sure, again sometime soon. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Sorry, tangent. I
It's
just
a good
feel like
tangent.
I've been
Any
I've
Chicago
been,
reference is good for me.
semi-immersed in Chicago culture.
Is-
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Or Illinois culture in general.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to learn about.
What's the meme where it's like this anime girl and it says Chicago mentioned, or any city? It's like
Yeah, anything like Brazil mentioned.
But then she'll have
all
like
that
I think
shit.
she'd have Chicago dog. I think I've seen this before, and a bottle of Malort. Oh, have I? Wait, have I had you guys try Malort yet? God damn it!
I don't think so.
I am
Probably
so
mentioned it a couple times.
yeah. Well, this has nothing to do with anything, but maybe they. I'm surprised there wasn't a Malort reference in the movie. It's a liqueur, and it tastes awful, and we love it here.
Man, yeah, speaking of alcohol, it's more tangent shit. I didn't know there's like this rosé shot called Kinky. It was kind of good actually.
Rosé.
It has the
What'd you-
consistency of like fucking Pepto-Bismol. It's very like creamy alcohol,
Whoa.
which I don't really have a fan. I'm not a fan of, but
Huh.
when you're that drunk, like
What if you freeze it? Then
You'll
it'd be
try.
really, really
Just
thick.
try it,
It'd be
yeah.
thick water.
Thick
yeah,
water.
when like they were like pouring shots, I was like, wow, that's viscous. And when I took it, I was like, whoa,
Hawk to
that's not coming down easy. It's the water.
Viscous fluid, you say? I might like it.
We should find it next time
Yeah, I'll
we'll
bring
have
them a Lord. You
everyone's,
guys
like,
will hate it.
yeah, everyone's like shots that they want to bring.
Of
That'll
course.
be mine.
Yeah.
Maybe when you visit. in Chicago.
Anyway, back on.
Oh, yeah.
Let me
Oh
on
yeah,
ramp.
we're on a podcast.
Late night with the devil.
Can I
Johnny
on ramp a
Carson, all
little
that
bit?
stuff.
There's something that like I didn't really
Yeah.
get, but I'm just gonna say it because there's like I know a couple times what's her name? Mallory? What's her name?
Madeline.
Madeline. She references O Calcutta. I don't know if you caught this at all, but that was very
No,
like
no.
a risque kind of like burlesque kind of performance. That I guess was
Oh,
probably
yeah.
because she did mention burlesque, and
The
I guess
nude
I think,
bodies.
but O Calcutta is a real thing, and it's like a,
Mhm.
a risque kind of, especially for the time, burlesque kind of show.
Right.
And and
because she
and
was like a show actress, right? Like
Yeah,
a
she was
showgirl
like a-
kinda-
I guess
kinda
she- yeah,
thing.
probably
That's
like a
why they were
Broadway
like a power
actress or-
couple.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was like, say hello to the goodbye girl, which I don't really know what that means, but
Bye bye, man.
but she references it twice. Once in the interview that they showed, like at the beginning, and kind of the same-ish interview, kind of near the end. And she
Yeah.
said something about, "Oh, Calcutta, you really loved all those naked bodies you saw backstage," and like
Uh-huh.
it definitely that. And then at least at first she says, "And how could a girl not fall in love when he blushes like that?" But like,
Yeah.
I almost want to think that has a lot to do with the. I think it might be kind of like a parallel to the orgies. Like she knows
Oh
he's
yeah,
attended.
mentioned by the Grove.
Yeah, at the Grove, and so it's like I almost feel like she almost. I think that got to him more than you think it did. I think that she was saying it because that is a funny anecdote if you're just talking about two normal people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're talking about maybe a wife that I think she knew when she said that, or maybe she knew it to some degree. She said, "He loved those naked bodies. You should have seen his face." And I almost she like
Yuck.
suspected that he sacrificed her like at the Grove, and like she
Right.
was
Yeah.
teasing him like, "Oh, I'm sure you've never seen that many naked bodies, you slut."
You slut at the orgies, Jack.
Yeah, those orgies, Jack. Am I not beautiful? Am I not pretty?
Oh, that plays into my theory. Like when he's doing the last interview he's gonna do with his wife. There's like, I don't know, maybe I'm reading into this, but there's like a little bit remorse. Like, oh my god, I'm doing this to you. Like you're like slowly, painfully dying, and I know why.
Right,
It's happening.
he's guilty as fuck.
Yeah. Because why all of a sudden, she would be hella sick, dying of cancer.
Right.
He's,
And
you know,
they even
chilling.
said that doctors were baffled.
Lung cancer.
And it's like, honestly, I feel like I've heard of people getting lung cancer that never smoked. But
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I don't know.
asbestos like roofing was
Asbestos.
very popular in the 70s,
That's
which
true.
caused a lot of lung
Yeah,
cancer for
that's
a lot
true.
of people.
Yeah, I don't know why
That's
doctors
true.
are so baffled. It's like now it's
Yeah.
2024
Oh
and
my
people are
God.
like, "Oh yeah,
Oh
she
my
she
God.
died from asbestos."
Yeah.
There was no Satan. There was no demon.
Yeah, maybe that's how they had to do it. Like they had to like stuff her in like in a asbestos like attic and be like, "This is our sacrifice." I think."
Right. No, I mean, I guess in my mind that, I mean, to be fair, he isn't there? He at least smokes one cigarette, and I feel like maybe there was some shots of like. I mean, I'm sure the boys' club like smokes cigars all the time. I think I saw some shots of that.
Everybody
I mean,
smoked in
and-
the 70s.
Right.
Also, like Carmichael smokes throughout the whole show.
It's still kind of funny. Like, why are doctors baffled? I'm sure this happens a lot.
Me and
Right.
us were joking about that, right? Oh my god, like Jack's hotboxing the house
Yeah,
every day.
right.
with
Yeah.
goddamn
Right.
cigars.
He's
And
really
now we
smoking
wonder why
cigars.
like her, not a smoker, gets lung cancer. It's like,
I can't believe it. You've never
Right.
smoked.
Well, yeah. It's like, oh, but I always took the smoking section of the restaurant or the non-smoking, right? So I would never have
Right.
inhaled smoke.
God, they were smoking on fucking airplanes
Well, that's what I'm
back
saying.
then.
Is
Yeah.
that there was
Yeah.
there was smoking. Does anybody remember? I'm old enough to remember smoking or not smoking. Alyssa, are you?
Yes.
For, like, a
yeah, there
restaurant?
was this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Legion, did you ever hear that in your life?
only on planes. Like I was the tail end before it started getting banned
Okay,
on planes.
planes are a different story. I mean, maybe I did too, but I only took like a couple plane rides. But like once in like 1996 or something. So they were smoking, not smoking there, but like at a restaurant. Do you remember ever hearing that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my
I don't think that was the thing here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
grandma.
I get you, Alyssa. Like I think.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like Legion, like I
Legion
don't
might
think
be
he's
a
ever
little
heard
too
that,
young.
which is
Well,
which is
and
like
did you have
generational.
family
Except for
members
Vegas.
that smoked too?
Except for
is-
Vegas, where that's a thing.
Well, right.
Oh,
Yeah, I
of
mean, yeah,
course.
sure. But yeah, no, I remember, and I think this stopped when I was like 10 years old. It was like smoking or not smoking section at the restaurant, you know? And it's like,
Mhm.
you know.
Abraxas section or non-Abraxas?
Yeah, right. Abraxas, lung cancer. But anyway, that's not neither here nor there. But that's interesting. I don't know where you guys were. I kind of when I took a break, but
So basically, like, Carmichael's like, "Hey, play back the footage. You'll see how I did it and stuff like that." And then Lily's like, "Well, if you want to play your footage, can we play back my footage
Mhm.
of possession?" And then it clearly shows like there's like no way she can like put on makeup that fast.
Right.
To like be like normal one time and then lift her head and her skin be cracked and stuff like that, and her forehead kind of misshapen and her eyes like gleaming
I
yellow.
will say,
And the chair elevating.
yeah,
Yeah, and the chair.
I will
elevated.
say, I mean, meta wise, I think that was CG for her face. That was done well. I thought that was really good. They
Yeah.
might have blended like somebody else's face with hers. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's very, like, classic, like, Exorcist, like,
yeah, it is.
you kind of
You're
mentioned it
right,
when we were
and maybe they
watching,
just went
like,
for that.
like the classic makeup where you put two faces on top of each
Right,
other,
right.
and so, like, what comes out
I
is a
think
very,
the
like,
main
distorted
thing
kind of person to...
for
give
her was
possession
like
thing a
her
little bit more
brow
juice.
got really severe, right? Like I don't know, man. Like it
That's always a possession movie thing, though,
Yeah,
for some reason.
yeah,
I don't
I
know
don't even know
why,
what
like, they
what
keep
they're
doing the
doing.
elongated brow.
Yeah, elongated.
Yeah,
Like
stop
what is it they're
that.
doing?
Like, just, like, super forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, naturally.
Yeah, I'm
Look
not
like
sure what they're trying to even
Neanderthals.
say there. It sounds like is like more Neanderthal. It looks more like a
Yeah.
Russian. I don't know.
Shout out to our Russian
Fuck
audience.
Russians. I mean, yeah.
Sorry, guys.
If you're a nice Russian, you're welcome here.
We like your
But,
vodka. Okay.
Your vodka's good.
yeah, they look back through Lily's footage, and of course, like they show the thing that cannot be proven, but they also show like Madeline's ghosts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like
It was-
not to shit on again, but like the Madison CG effect didn't work for me either. I
That-
just kind of wish they had her stand there as an actress.
I know they
and
had
just
her
be in that camera
eliminated.
shot.
That's what threw me off too. Like the image of her, it was like super illuminated and like
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't mind it that much, except for when we first saw it. It seemed different than when we saw it the second time, which is fine.
Yeah,
I think that's like
inconsistent,
artistic.
like CGI, right?
Yeah, but to be fair, when they did, well, first of all, I mentioned it earlier, but I really like the frame by frame. If that makes up for it, in my opinion,
That
maybe
was cool.
maybe the CGI wasn't good, but if you listen really closely, like each frame they go has like a different like interference, and it's just really off-putting. It's like it's very
There's like
it's very analog horror, dude. We were saying that when
Yeah.
it was happening, and
Yeah,
when,
yeah.
and
I
when the
that when you were away for a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, right. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, you're right. I said it earlier too. But yeah, that's definitely cool. But I didn't mind so much when I don't know if the CGI was great, but I did notice some of the subtleties because she had her hand on Jack's shoulder.
Yeah, I like that better. I wish they did that instead of the image that shows up in back of him of the wife.
Well, that's
I wish it was just the hand on the shoulder.
oh, okay,
instead.
sure, okay. I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. I agree that the CGI was probably not the greatest. I think her like mouth was like opening the whole time. I thought that was really cool. I don't know, maybe that was supposed to be like a glitch effect or maybe it was supposed to be like a real thing that was happening for some reason. But her like mouth started like extending down, kind of like some other horror stuff we've been watching. Plus, Lily's mouth got really wide a couple times.
Yeah, for a second.
Yeah,
like when she lunges at the doctor right before she gets slapped,
and later in a montage
like you could
too.
see like a kind of like a horse, like elongated like mouth like opening.
Yeah,
trying to snatch
that was a
at
cool
the
shot.
doctor.
But like it was different than that, to be fair. But yeah, the ghost of
I think that was makeup more.
Oh
than
sure.
It was, like, CG.
I'm just saying that
So
like
I thought that was like better.
Yeah, I'm just saying like the ghost was like had like an elongated mouth like going down, kind of like, you know what I mean, like. And I thought that was. I mean, I thought that was okay, but yeah, I kind of agree that could have probably been done like slightly better in some way. I'm not here to like workshop the movie, but I mean, it wasn't. I thought it was maybe a little better than you might have thought it was, but yeah, it could have been better. Still a vibe.
Yeah, I like that. There's kind of like hints that Abraxas, but the demon that serves him that inhabits Lily is very electrical based.
Yeah,
because that's all that kind of happens throughout the show, and like the electrical current that kind of runs on the ceiling that you see in one shot, and then the final scene where she has these two electrical beams pouring out.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like it's been subtly like hinting that he kind of warps like electricity, or in some way does something with how we perceive things. So I thought that was kind of like cool.
There is something there. I don't even know what that means.
Drop of like some knowledge.
Yeah, that's kind of up to interpretation, or maybe there is some deep lore. I mean, Abraxas is a real.
Maybe.
Abraxas is like an actual demon that people study and stuff. So
yeah.
The stories, I don't know if it's the stories of
like,
Abraxas.
A lot of shows like draw upon that real demon, but they kind of like twist it
right.
a little bit
I mean,
to make it fit their story.
Without Abraxas, you'd never have abracadabra.
Yeah. So Lily starts convulsing. She starts levitating in the air. You see like I thought this was the best CG in the film.
Yes,
when her head
this
just
was
splits
awesome,
open.
dude. I love this depiction of like a demon or a devil. This is one of the best.
Yeah, like she does her like Emperor Palpatine thing where like electricity comes from her hands and shooting it to the camera and shooting to or wherever, still alluding to like Abraxas is controlling this.
Well, he does.
Thing.
He basically has control of the studio because I mean, later when it goes to like off air and like obviously he melts it, but there's also like a static screen where his face pops
Yeah, there's
up.
like shots of him like his face like within like transition scenes you can see.
He has entire control over the entire studio at that point.
Yeah.
Or Abraxas, Mr. Wriggles.
Mr. Wriggles, sorry. We keep mentioning Abraxas. This is a different one.
Well, they know what we mean. Right, audience?
Yeah.
Drop a like and chat.
And then so the main cast start dying, and I thought a really cool thing was that everyone's death is like foreshadowed, which I thought was like really cool.
I'm not sure I caught all of it. I mean, there is something. There's a couple of comments I'll make, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So fucking base to Gus, man.
Yep.
Still trying to save his boy Jack. He doesn't run. He takes out his cross and he tries to fight that thing. Doesn't end well for him, but motherfucker, that's a true friend. That's why.
And his head spun.
That's a day one right there.
Yep.
Anyway, he mentions like earlier in the movie that like, oh, my wife likes the way my head sits on my shoulders. And and like Jack says, oh, don't get a spinny head about this, and his neck gets like snapped all the way around,
like an owl.
Actually, okay, you got me there. That's a good one.
Right?
Mind blown.
Yeah. And then what's it called? Carmichael when he's berating Christo about his powers, and Jack tries to like reassure Christo and like kind of like back him up. He's like, don't worry about Carmichael. He's all wax and no wick.
You love that one.
And then Carmichael's constantly smoking throughout the stuff, and how does he die? Just burst into flames.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was funny. I guess this is going a little out of order, but the first two deaths tried to conjure like Jesus, right? The Christian. But then Carmichael just tries to pull out a check. And I thought that was a good commentary on like religion and for like capitalism kind of thing. Like the first two tried to banish him with the power of Jesus. And and then Carmichael tries to banish with the power of the Fed.
It's funny because what's the check for? It's to prove that supernatural exists.
Right.
Guess what? it's been proven. I'm paying you the money because you proved it.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like
honestly,
a
yeah. When you
double
think
meaning
about
there.
it, his was a rational response in some ways, But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
like when you think about it, like why would the devil ever have use for a check?
Yeah, why
But
does
like
she
at
need
the end of the
money?
day, he was at least putting his money where his mouth was. Literally,
Mm-hmm.
he's my hero. He's
That's
my
a lot
favorite
of money.
character.
$500,000, $100,000 in
Dude,
'70s.
500,000. Yeah, dude, that was like $1 million.
Dude, could have bought the Amityville house.
Could have just bought it. Could have just
Yeah.
bought the studio and had the own devil show, the Braxis show. What the fuck?
Right.
Man.
Actually, you know what's a funny thing? Like it's in my funny side things I was gonna say at the end. You know the news article where it says like Jack comes back a month later
Mhm.
to start his show again, right?
Mhm.
On the bottom, on the bottom of the thing, there's an ad for like #1 movie selling Abraxas comes again or something like that.
Oh,
That was
okay. I
fucking
didn't notice that.
hilarious.
That's cool. It's like the newspaper clipping. Okay,
Abraxas Rises or something
Abraxas,
like that.
Abraxas Strikes Back or whatever the hell.
Right. In
That's
a
fine.
month, it took you 4 weeks. That's it.
That
to
was how
mourn
it
your
took-
wife.
That's how long it took him to write that movie. No, I don't know.
Like Jesus.
No, it was. That
like
was
that
the funny
Abraxas
part.
wastes no time though. Like as soon as Jack's back on, let me pimp out my shit. Abraxas is like, watch my movie.
I know, right?
No,
What
and
the
you're right.
fuck?
Yeah, yeah, and that's probably where. Yeah, it's interesting. I like that. It's almost like Abraxas was definitely stalking him the whole time.
Yeah.
And then what was it? Oh yeah, and then June's death, with her totem, like
Right.
getting wrapped around her neck, and then
Mhm.
eventually like slitting her throat. Yeah, just like a symbol in which she thought that's how she controls like the demon within
Yeah.
Lily was using this symbol, and it ultimately just gets used up against her
Mhm.
Yeah.
by way of like silencing forever. No more lies, no more telling people that we're family and things are nice at home, and this is not like a very predatory test
Damn.
subject thing. Just
Okay,
Right.
you're right. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that was kind of her leash for Lily. Like Lily returned.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
then she got strangled by her own leash. I think that's really. I
Mhm.
think that's cool.
No more
now that I
fucking
think
Jack.
about it.
You think he's so handsome?
No, what?
No
Yeah.
banging in the woods.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but
Actually,
that's
speaking of the
interesting
handsome
symbolism.
thing,
Yeah.
there's like a funny like news article saying like that Jack Delroy was the thinking woman's like hot person of the year. I thought that was
Bro,
kinda funny.
that reminds me so much. Like, you ever look at something like 20 years ago, like hottest men, and then it's like number one on the list is somebody that like all the women think are like ugly now. Like, it's such a fickle business.
Mm-hmm.
The thinking woman's
The
attractive.
thinking woman. Hey.
I'm the thinking woman, and I might do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I don't
Da-
blame you.
David's got that little weirdness in him that kind of makes him attractive.
No, yeah, I think
Yeah.
he
Like him
he
as an
definitely has
actor.
an attractive streak. He's almost like a Adrian Brody kind of
He is. Yeah.
like it.
But then Jack kind of rushes out. He kind of like looks at
Well,
Lily as this thing is happening.
yeah.
It's like the producer that has to like drag him away.
And she
backstage.
like nods at him, or he, whatever they, like
whatever's
like,
possessing.
like nods
Lily
at him. I think
entity.
it was kind of like a "you get to live because I want to torture you" kind of look.
Mhm.
Well, it comes back later.
Sure.
That's all right. But yeah, and then we get a glimpse. So this is where the ending kind of lost me a little bit,
Okay.
and I'm kind of okay with
Let
it.
me explain.
But I
I'm
felt
just kidding.
like that could have been like the ending right there. Was just like not escaping, but like what happens at the end could have been just cut to that. Instead, we get like a very like a lot of exposition, like exactly how Jack came to be this late night guy, and then what he had to do and the sacrifice he had to make. I feel like that was always that was pretty like out there, but they had to like go back and explain it by giving us all of these like
yeah.
I don't think
flashbacks of his wife.
I don't think it was
like, with
necessarily meant as exposition. I really do think it was meant to really see that that Mr. Wriggles was torturing him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He was begging the whole
yeah, but
time
I
to
mean,
stop
like, we get
watching.
like so much information about like him sacrificing and his deal with the
Yeah.
grove.
I think it was
and like signing with the TV deal. It's like stuff we've already seen that's already alluded to that could just have been like.
But by
cut out
the
a little
end,
bit,
he
in my
actually
opinion.
returns. This was like a vision he was having, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, this is Abraxas fucking.
But I
with
feel like
him.
it's for the audience more than it is for Jack.
It is,
Mhm.
but and
Like-
that's well,
Like, let me shoehorn that he sacrificed his wife.
sure. But, okay.
Oh, by the
so
way-
you just know.
No, yeah, you go ahead. I do have one thing to say about something he says
Oh, go,
during
go.
this section. What?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say that when he was talking with his wife, like dying, right? he was like apologizing, right? He was by the bedside, and he was very sad, obviously. And this is after, and this is what I'm saying. Like, it kind of told the story very succinctly, but it was basically Abraxas basically showing him again what he did, right? And he was by the bedside of his wife after he did the sacrifice, after he drank whatever he drank, by the way. I don't know what technically that was. Blood of
owl blood.
That's a cool thing, right? Yeah, it's owl blood.
Yeah, owl blood, sure. Okay, that sounds a little better than what I thought.
Just like, cold semen.
Right, okay, sure. No, but
it's that drink you were saying that was viscous. What was it?
Oh,
yeah,
right, yeah.
It's the kinky. It's the rosé alcohol.
See, it all comes back, guys. It all comes back around.
Full circle.
Why is it called kinky?
Anyway, so I really think that was just Abraxas torturing him, showing him what he did. Right, again in a hellscape. This is a kind of a tangent, but I don't know if you know what SCP is, the secure, control, protect, or whatever, the whole thing. And there's like a couple stories I really like. One of them is like a story about a tape that each time you play it is just another loop for these people, and it's a basketball game from like 2010, right? And it's like some playoff game between like the Heat and the Celtics, I think. And it's just cool because like each time you watch it, it's another round of it, and everybody in the videotape like knows that they're looping and looping and looping, and each replay is different, and they're going insane. And you know what I mean? And it like point, or each time they watch it, it skips around, but like each time it's recorded, they watch it, people get even more insane. Anyway, that's kind of what it reminded me of. There's a couple other creepypastas like that where it's like you're on a game show and you're in hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that's what it reminded me of. He's just being tortured by the audience that he sold his soul for, like we were saying earlier. And at one point, when he's sitting by his wife's bedside while she's dying, he appeals. He spikes the lens, just like Mr. Wriggles or whatever, or Lily.
Yeah.
And he appeals to the audience, and he says it wasn't supposed to turn out this way. And it's like he's apologizing to the audience, right? I don't know. I just feel like he, even when he's at his wife's bedside while she's dying, he's trying to apologize to the people that he sold his soul to. And I think that's kind of why. And then immediately after, well, not immediately, but right after that, she says, "Stab me, kill me," and he does, and it turned, well, I'm not spoiling anything, but it turns out to be Lily. And so like, and that's why I think, and then he stabs her, and that's why I think that at the end you can hear sirens, kind of a callback to earlier. You can hear sirens, and I think that's basically him saying, I got my ratings, and also I'm about to be arrested and put in jail like forever, because like nobody will believe that the demon, the Abraxas's a servant came in here and killed these people. I don't know how they're going to explain James or Andy Carmichael being burned like a cigarette, but I don't know.
I mean, it's the neck break too. Like,
yeah, true, but you
cannot do that much force
theoretically. But yeah, you're right. You're kind of right about that too.
Well, he got what he wanted, right? He was the most like rated
That's
show.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't know that instead of famous, he was getting infamy.
Yeah, infamous.
Yes.
But he asked for the highest ratings, right? That's the monkey's paw.
Right, he sure did.
But it's also, the flashback is like, I talked to Alyssa about it when you were away, but like that's the only time the movie like cuts from the 4:3 aspect ratio, like on your
right. Oh, it went widescreen. That was
to like 16:9, like actually like modern, like what you see now in like Netflix or whatever. No, I guess the only time like you're taken away from the 70s aesthetic, like old school level of how TVs used
because
to
it's in his mind.
feel back then.
Now we're inside his mind where we don't need to pretend that we're a show.
We're not behind a camera anymore.
Right? Yeah, we're not in a show. We're in his mind, and that's why I think it's just Abraxas torturing him in his mind. You know what I mean? It's just doing a loop, like almost in my mind again, like kind of what I was saying with the other kind of like stories where it's a loop. Like I almost feel like you could almost imagine him being tortured like that for a long time before the ending happened, right? You know what I mean? Like because it kept going from scene, like from bit to bit, like from the to the caveman bit where he says, "Sound familiar, fellas?"
Right.
And then like and of course like the animal handler with the big worm, and again worms are a big theme because he said earlier like your wife's been eaten away by worms, a long time ago. And so
worm.
like that's a theme, and I think he was being tortured there for at least a little while, and then he kind of had to relive his sacrifice. He knew what he was doing, and he had to relive sacrificing his wife,
Yeah.
and then he had to relive her dying, and then at the end of that, he was now like a murderer. So yeah, he got tortured basically, and now I think he's basically gonna go to jail, at least in my mind. I don't know, maybe he'll
I guess in my head canon, like, his apology was just to his wife. Like, he didn't know that was the sacrifice.
I mean,
like,
sure,
push the button, oh, someone gets sacrificed, I didn't know it was gonna be my
I
wife.
think that's his thought, and that's definitely what he feels, but in my mind, when he looks at the camera, when he spikes the lens and says it wasn't supposed to be this way, he's talking to the audience. He was, he still wants the approval of the audience. I'm sure he may or may not feel bad about his wife. I bet he does, but he might not. And also he's apologizing to the audience, the people he sold his soul for, the people that he really wanted the approval for. And in his mind, and maybe this is true, he was willing to sacrifice his wife for that.
Right. Maybe he thought that she wouldn't have to die slowly.
Well, right.
Maybe
and he
thought it
doesn't
would be
think
quicker.
that that's what he would have given up. But really, I don't think when he signed the contract, I don't think he cared. Like, I think he really did say, I'll sacrifice anything. And this is the comeuppance of that attitude.
Yeah.
He was like, it was supposed to be Gus.
Yeah.
No, Gus is fucking based. He's the only good guy in this show.
I know.
I love that.
But yeah, we get scenes. This is what I was referencing, where like part of the audience members are cult members because they cut to the redwoods and Jack making the sacrifice, and Dabo saying like, "Oh, sacrifices must be made," and then we cut to the TV person, like him signing the 5-year contract, which on that Halloween night was the ending of his contract, and which kind of coincides with his deal with the devil. Like,
I didn't know that.
Gave you that fame.
Yeah.
Like it didn't work out because my ratings were dropped, but he gave him what he wanted within that 5-year
Right.
contract.
Well, that's why,
That's
it's
true.
a sweeps week, and yeah.
So the devil gave him what he wanted just on his last day. You get what you want on your last day of work.
That's
The
why the
devil
suits
is
were there.
trickster. Damn.
But he ended his 5-year contract, and he finally beat Carson, but at the cost of everything he had done, and also fame versus infamy.
Yeah.
He's now known for murder rather than for his show.
Damn.
And then we get like a little cool tidbit towards the end, still kind of like symbolizing maybe the demon's control over things, because at the bottom it says, "So it is done," and it's like a reference to like the demon like contracts.
Yeah,
done.
yeah, he closed the deal.
You
That's
got what
it.
you want.
Yeah.
Damn.
No.
Anyone else?
Yeah. No, the more I
let me
think
sign
about
a contract right now.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more sense this all makes.
Like, if we're gonna get this podcast off the ground, we're gonna have to make some sacrifices.
Bro, yeah. Wait, who wants to? You've got like so many kids,
What?
Alyssa. Come on.
Well,
Oh my God.
Alyssa, you're in California. You go make the deal. They'll drive.
Right?
easier
There's
for
probably
you.
an office
Right,
in town
and you're
that
right
does
next
it.
to the redwoods. Holy shit, Alyssa, you're right
Praxis's
there.
Office.
That's why we're going
Downtown
camping
Fresno.
there.
Oh my God,
God.
yeah.
I'm telling you.
Oh man.
But yeah.
But great movie.
Trying to think of-
I liked it. Also, shout out to the actor that played Carmichael. I was kind of like looking through his IMDb because he kind of looked famous. And he was in Matrix 2 and 3.
Oh shit.
He plays like a possessed person by Agent Smith that like goes around like killing some of the crew.
That's
And
awesome.
honestly, like that actor's I forget his name. What's his name? Ian Bliss. Like, that actor's performance at it is so creepy. Like, in a Matrix movie of all places. Like, he plays one of like the most convincing like possessed characters I've ever seen.
Huh.
Just his demeanor, and like he doesn't have that much credits either. So he's one of those guys that they hired who just kind of like has this one thing, and then he leaves Hollywood basically.
I did like
okay.
him. I liked all the
Yeah.
actors. Holy shit. I think they were all
He was
pretty
so
brilliant.
condescending. Your dead
He
wife.
was.
Like, okay, we know she's
well,
dead.
No, yeah,
Thank
that was so funny because after the possession thing, and he was convinced it wasn't real, and he's like, "Oh, you're resorting to this type of shenanigans, trying to use your dead wife as like clickbait.
He says that so harsh. You dead wife. I'm like,
Dead
God.
wife.
Okay. It's been a month.
Apparently, he sacrificed her, dude. At least Carmichael never made a deal with the
Jeez.
devil, my hero.
That's true. He
Carmichael
just
was
wrote
a
checks
dick.
and
Gus is
provoked
the real
Oh,
things.
hero.
whatever. You can write checks. Is that against the law?
He
I
scared
mean,
Gus.
you can be antagonistic to a point, but when you bring up dead family members all
I
the time, you're
guess.
like, you're kind of piece of
He's
shit,
definitely
I
an
guess.
asshole, but I don't
Well,
think that.
that's why he got set on fire. So
He definitely
He
reminds.
did. He
and
got his comeuppance.
I said this during the thing. He also reminds me of like Penn Jillette. He's like such a kind of an asshole.
yeah.
And oh yeah, they even said Carmichael did shows in Vegas, so it's definitely a kind of a
Yeah,
Penn
he
and
was
Teller
a
reference.
he was a illusionist turned skeptic.
Yeah, that's
basically.
basically Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, good movie. Like
Yeah.
all around. I actually didn't. I know there's like a lot of like late night stuff, and I've never been a late night guy, but I feel like I have like a newfound respect, especially like all these references. Like I loved watching that Madonna Letterman interview because it was just a reference that they made in Late Night with the Devil.
I'm gonna go back and watch
And
it.
just learning about the history of late night and like learning more about Carson and seeing all these fun costumes come to life was like really great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Any other closing
I
thoughts?
don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you. I mean, I guess you kind of did do the wrap up. I mean, I guess I'll give my final thoughts. There's not much more than anything else. I'm looking at my notes. There was why did I say there was a handshake that I wanted to talk about? I guess I don't remember what that note was about. I might have been a little.
It had something to do with something else.
Yeah, no, yeah, oh, yeah, the gentleman's handshake, whatever they call it. No, no.
And Christo and Lily, they were like, let's fucking rock.
Yeah,
this."
right. Yeah, I think there was some like sus handshake between like Jack and the skeptic guy. I don't know. No, I did enjoy the movie.
I did too.
Yeah, and like on second watch, Alyssa, it was so good.
Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to like shame you, but no, it was like there was a lot of details. I really liked it. I think I got it more, and I respect the hell out of like the commitment to like the bit to the 70s late night talk show bit. Like I just respect it a lot. Like I don't know, like
It's a fun vibe.
yeah,
mid-70s.
it's gonna hit. Like I said it earlier, it's gonna hit so hard to like turn this on like just turn it on your TV. I mean, I have like a TV like right like kind of in front of me ish, like in my room, but like it's kind of small. It's not like anything big, but it like if I just turn on the HBO or whatever, or like some show, and Late Night with the Devil was on it, I'd be like vibing so hard because it just looks like a fucking old show, and then all of a sudden there's like demons coming out of people, like the design of the final demon when her head splits apart. Like I really just thought that was one of the. I really thought that's a great representation, almost Eldritch kind of like like. You can't comprehend it, so it's just some like fucking burning sun in the middle of some person's split head, right? Like it's probably not even what it looked like, but it was like what it like. That's the only thing you could see. I think that was a good touch. I think overall there was some flaws, but I liked it a lot. And the second viewing, it's scary too. Even on second viewing, I'm like spooked. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
So, 10
I'm
out of
gonna
10.
watch it
Or
again
9.5
with all the
out of 10.
information that I've absorbed today because I didn't get to freaking watch it again. I am
okay,
going
Alyssa.
to watch it. I know. Next time, I'll
But
get
tell
them
us
next
tell
time.
us your final thoughts even a week or two later.
Oh man, I really liked it. I think it was well done. Like I said, I like how it was shot. I'm super into horror. I like the 70s aspect of it. And, you know, I love a good possession story. It's always good. Anything that has to do with cults and shit like that, it's fun. And people that don't believe and they get it shoved right up their ass that it's real, I am always for it.
The comeuppance, right? That's what you described when we were like kind of discussing like movie club a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like why would children men be more sad than Late Night with the Devil? And it's like because they deserved it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know I'm all mean, but I mean, yeah, because you know the whole time, Aqua's character is just like, you know, hating on them, and Fucking talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren, and then what happens to him? He gets set on fire. So
Yeah, he's like burned from the inside. It's actually metal as hell.
Yeah.
The demon says like abracadabra, burns
Dude,
the check, and then starts burning
that's
him.
kind of cool.
Abracadabra.
Got you.
It gave me chills. It
Yeah.
was really well done. I perfectly executed for sure. I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah. Watch it on Halloween night. We'll all watch it
I
again.
will.
Yeah, that's like a good like Halloween night. Like we're like the kids are asleep. The
candy's all in your
trick-or-treaters
belly.
have gone. Let's just like put on like a horror movie. That it's it'd be
No,
great
yeah,
for
and
that.
it's just funny because it's almost like turning on I could see it becoming kind of a cult classic. Like, let's turn on the Carson, Halloween special. Not really. Well, yeah, let's, it'll just be a thing that you put on Halloween night. Like, yeah, the late night show, the late night with the devil show.
I want to trick my family now. Like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
right,
watch,
you
like,
should
one of
just
my
put it
favorite
on.
bits
You'd be like, oh, I
from
just heard
Carson
about
and
this
just
new-
put Late Night with the Devil.
Right.
have you
I'll
ever
show
heard
it to
of
my
this?
grandma.
Yeah, just tell grandma, like, hey, remember the 70s show? Or, you know what I mean? Like, remember this late night show from the 70s? Like,
Grandma, I got this
and she'd be
VHS
like,
act
on
like
your
it's a real
cupboard.
thing.
Can we watch
You
it?
ever watch Jack Delroy?
yeah, Jack
back in the
Delroy.
70s, Grandma?
This is Johnny Carson, Jack Delroy, basically the same, right? Like, let's turn it on. She'd be like, okay.
She-
Oh my god.
Yeah, she'd be like, okay.
Oh my god.
That tape's from my house? I'm like, yeah, it was in the garage.
Don't you remember the Amityville House?
I didn't know you
Oh
had the
my
unedited, unaired version of what happened that night with Jack Delroy.
Right. Well, that's the
crazy,
other thing.
Grandma.
Like, I doubt, like, in universe, I don't think this ever was released, right? So, like, it's only like
yeah, the
people.
narrator says like unreleased.
Yeah. So
unseen
like,
footage.
so people
of what
who
happened
watched
that
it
night.
live are probably like possessed, basically, or somehow.
Right?
And that's kind of one of those analog horror things. By the way, that final technical difficulty screen where it started melting,
Yeah.
like that was cool. Like that
Yeah,
was so analog
Not to
horror.
get off on a tangent, but yeah, I was like kind of saying this like. I don't know how you like define analog horror, but I always feel like it's more like a documentary and archived footage rather than like the shaky cam. Like shaky cam stuff has like some like similarities to analog horror, but I feel like it's more like someone's like actively trying to document / archive thing. Like, holy shit, the moon's trying to kill us. It's falling
Archivist.
from the sky.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
No, you're right. There's a difference between like found footage and like analog horror. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, and this felt like analog horror. Like
Definitely.
someone's like trying to document this. Like this happened. You
Mhm.
know?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good movie.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna hit the outro now.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening to our review and analysis of Late Night with the Devil. I think that's all we have. We'll be back when we're back. I guess that's all. My name is Relytan.
I'm Alyssa Riot.
And I'm Legion Lion at Legion Lion on Twitch. I've been taking a little break because I'm busy, but I will be back. You guys won't even notice because this episode's gonna come out like late September.
Right? I was
I
gonna say.
already know.
We almost we'll
but,
almost be Halloween time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
right.
almost be Halloween time. Maybe a release during Halloween would be kind of cool. I don't know. We'll see what's in the cards. But yeah. Till next time though. Stay away from devils. Don't make contracts in the woods. Stay away from girls that dead stare at the camera. And yeah, be safe.
Yeah, don't spike the lens.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye guys. Thanks for
Bye.
listening.